Why good companies still fail. When a company fails, people often assume incompetence, bad leadership, poor strategy, reckless behavior. But many companies that collapse were once considered excellent. They had talented people, strong brands, healthy profits, respected leadership. So the real question is not why bad companies fail. That is expected. The real question is, why do good companies still fail? Failure rarely comes from one bad decision. It comes from a series of reasonable decisions that slowly increase risk. Nothing feels wrong at the moment it happens. Everything feels logical. Everything feels justified. Until suddenly, it doesn't. Success is one of the most underestimated risks. When companies perform well for a long time, confidence turns into certainty. Certainty turns into assumption. Past success becomes proof that the current approach is correct. Warning signs are seen as noise. Criticism is seen as negativity. Caution is seen as resistance to growth. People say, "We've handled bigger challenges. This model has always worked. We know this business better than anyone." But the environment keeps changing. Markets, technology, customer expectations, competition. When confidence replaces curiosity, organizations stop learning. And when learning stops, risk quietly accelerates. Good companies rarely collapse overnight. They erode gradually. Standards slip slightly. Controls are relaxed to save time. Temporary fixes become permanent solutions. None of these choices feel dangerous individually. But together, they create fragility. This is how good companies drift into failure, not through recklessness, but through convenience. People adapt to pressure by cutting corners. Leadership accepts it because results still look fine. Over time, the organization becomes efficient on the surface, but weak underneath. The danger is not visible until stress arrives. And when stress arrives, weaknesses surface all at once. Consider a common pattern. A company grows rapidly. Demand increases. Teams are stretched. To keep up, processes are simplified. Reviews are reduced. Decisions are pushed faster. Initially, this works. But as complexity increases, risks increase too. Errors rise. Quality issues appear. Customer complaints grow slowly. Leadership focuses on growth metrics, not warning signs. By the time growth slows, the organization realizes it has outgrown its controls. What failed was not ambition. It was the failure to adjust risk management as the company evolved. Good companies often develop a dangerous trait: silence. People hesitate to speak up because leadership is respected. The organization has a strong track record. Raising concerns feels disloyal, so risks are softened. Concerns are phrased politely. Problems are framed as minor. Over time, honesty is replaced with optimism. When everyone believes the company is good, it becomes harder to admit that something is wrong. This is not dishonesty. It is human behavior. But silence is one of the most powerful drivers of failure. Risks that are not voiced early return later as crisis. In many good companies, risk management exists, but only formally. Reports are prepared. Meetings are held. Risks are rated. But decisions remain unchanged. Risk management becomes ceremonial, something to comply with, not something to act on. When risk does not, slow decisions, challenge assumptions, influence priorities, it loses its purpose. Good companies often fail not because risk management is absent, but because it is disconnected from decision-making. When failure finally occurs, people say, "This was unexpected." But when examined closely, the signs were always there. They were just ignored, normalized, postponed. Failure feels sudden only because action was delayed. By the time risk demands attention, options are limited and damage is unavoidable. The failure appears dramatic, but the costs were ordinary and familiar. Good companies don't fail because they ignore reality. They fail because they delay responding to it. Resilient companies behave differently. They treat success with caution. They encourage challenge, not agreement. They reward early warnings. They understand that confidence must be questioned. Growth increases risk. Silence is a signal. They integrate risk into decisions, not reports. Most importantly, they act early, when action is uncomfortable but still effective. Risk management in strong companies is not about preventing failure. It is about preventing surprise. Good companies fail not because they are careless. They fail because success blinds them, because comfort delays action, because silence replaces honesty. Failure is rarely caused by one bad choice. It is caused by many small choices that feel safe at the time. The real lesson is simple. Being a good company today does not protect you tomorrow. Only honest risk awareness does. The question every organization should ask is not, are we successful? But what risks are we quietly accepting because things still look fine?